So you're rolling around your city in Cities Skylines 2, and it may look amazing. You may have a ton of downtown space, you may have a ton of residential areas, and most importantly, you may even have a great industrial area of the sorts. But when it comes down to it, are you running into a lot of issues with your city and think maybe I could have done something differently when I was building it? Well, I have been as well. So, as I'm sitting here and I'm looking at things, I just think about what I would do differently now that I know. One of the biggest things would be whenever I gridded out the beginning here, I thought that it was going to be great to do so. Whenever I gridded it and ran this road straight from the main grid onto this over here in the industrial complex, I wish I would have rethought that. I wish I would have ran highway off of here and morphed the highway into another section that came over in this area. And I know that's hard to do because in the beginning you don't have this unlocked. You sort of have to unlock it. But I wish I would have taken the ability to say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and pretty much morph a 2-lane single direction road into a 4-lane that's like sitting over here and make that the main way, and build off of that, and then have this over here. But as soon as I had highways, I would switch out highways and start building things, because I got this highway in here way too late and they already decided their routes. And since this highway drops right off into this main road, everybody that's coming from out of town this way instantly thinks, oh, we're going to get off here, we're going to go over this bridge. And if they need to get into this area, they have two routes whenever they come this way. They can either drop off right in here, which I hope that they would do, but I do get slight traffic jams over there. But what I see a lot of is that the guys will come through and they'll get off and they'll run right down through here, get off this exit, and they'll go over into somewhere over here. Unless they're going into this part over in here, they pretty much don't use these two exits unless they're going into this area. If they're from pretty much this main road to the left, they get off this exit and try to come into here. And I know that like with some of the things up over in here with like the commercial buildings and such, we don't have enough production in certain areas that they're shipping in stuff from outside, and this sort of has a big issue. So I've been thinking about doing like a heavy traffic ban over in here and pretty much seeing if that clears anything up. So pretty much I would take this and build it right into here and just have a heavy traffic ban in this area. I'm not sure if it would truly make a difference. So if we put that on there, we'll see if it clears things up. But now everybody's going to pretty much wrap around the highway, always down through, go around this, come through here, and they're going to get off this exit, and it's just going to move the traffic jam down a little bit farther because this is where they want to go to. So unless I made another little zone on top of this bridge and banned heavy traffic there, it would just keep pushing the traffic jams in other places because this is broken. The cargo terminal is broken. So that's one of the things that I wish I would have done differently. Just the entrance to the town altogether. Wish I would have really put in some forethought and said, hey, I should continue the highway, so I need to grid off to the left, or I need to grid off to the right. In this case, it would have been off to the left because that's what it gave you in the beginning. So I wish I would have done that. Another thing that I wish I would have done is thought more about what squares and tiles that I was going to use for what. So whenever I went through and started buying things, in the beginning I really moved awkwardly. So I moved in this area here and I had this, and then I sort of bought this up to try to get this as well situated as possible. However, whenever I was looking at things, I didn't realize that like the train line ran through here. So instead of buying that stuff, since this doesn't work, I wouldn't have bought these squares, and I instead would have bought like these 4 squares over here. use this highway to create an extension to go ahead and get the industrial area taken care of. That way things flowed a little bit easier. And I also would have thought about where I would have built my city towards, because I really didn't look at the wind levels and stuff. So if I would have instead extended over this way and built my city over here, I could have completely used all of these areas down in here for all the ore and oil and things like that, and I could have went ahead and did this. So now I'm sort of flipping around. We'll see if this is slightly more beneficial because of this being over here, but I sort of wish I would have put my city upstream, and that way I could do things slightly differently, because now if I'm doing anything with like the water and such, I'm exporting sewage here shortly, but where my sewage comes out at, which would be somewhere right in this area or so, I believe, I have sewage that's being pumped out. Might not actually have sewage being pumped out. I might have this building here, which is doing the sewage for me. Yep, that's the waste treatment. So I ended up having to remove the sewage that I had there and get the wastewater treatment plant. Either that, or I would be shipping sewage out of the town and paying for that as well. And one of our biggest things was making sure that we're making money, and that was one of the things that we succeeded with very greatly on here, was making money. Another thing that I wish I would have done differently within the city whenever I was building it is grid this out differently. So these roads are way too long in here. There's not enough intersections and stuff. And that may seem crazy to say, like, oh, Chase, you would have a lot more traffic going on over here if you had more intersections. Actually would alleviate traffic more. The reason why people are taking certain routes and causing traffic in certain areas is because they're figuring out that they have to go that way to be the quickest route. If you open this up and grid this out completely, people would pretty much be intertangling all through here, and traffic would flow pretty much way more freely than what's going on here. So with all these long roads, I wish I would have done it differently, and that's what I'm going to do over here, is I'm going to grid it more. Another thing that I regret doing is, like I said, building the city here, because then since we needed to go ahead and do oil and stuff, I am so close to the oil now with the city that I'm pretty much going to have to get rid of all of this. But the biggest issue that I had to do with all of this industrial area here, because of these guys, I needed to make sure that trucks were picking up the stuff here and going right to it, because it wasn't causing more traffic somewhere else. Now we have a ton of ground pollution. So until I delete this and it starts to dissipate and stuff, I would really need to go ahead and expand up this way to, and I can't grab this oil because that's not safe to do. I could grab this oil over here, but we're still super far away and have to build to it. But this oil seems like our best bet with the ore, because there's just stuff along the way. But it's really out of the way. So if I would have expanded the town this way instead, I might have been able to use like this here, or this oil here, or definitely this oil here, just because I would have expanded into a different route, and I would have had this area pretty much unlocked. It really would be this here just flipped. And that would get me the oil, and that would get me the ore and stuff like that. And there would just be a different route to go for it. So I wish I would have really looked at the resource tabs as soon as I got a hold of them. And I wish I would have looked at like the air pollution tab and stuff like that, just to see the way that the wind was blowing. Luckily, I got super lucky with this, because the wind blows out and around. But now I can't build anything over here. This would pretty much have to be our industrial area over on this side. And that's why the city's going over here, because it's sort of just got to watch it to make sure that it's built in the right area. And we're sort of held against this water line with building, because I sort of got to use like the ore and stuff up over in here. Luckily, the wind changes in this area and pushes it down that way. So if I go ahead and do the oil and stuff and push it that way, I can use a lot of this area that's up in here to build more of the city and more of the area. But I really wish I would have looked at this stuff beforehand. I also wish that I would have had more information on things that do and do not work together. So like I said, the cargo terminal and stuff, I had such a long period of time where people were so upset and unhappy and the city was just going through a ton of stuff that it just got super rough. And now all this stuff is popping back up again. So they said that they fixed this and it's just not getting fixed. And now we have all this stuff here that is going abandoned, and it's just, it's been rough that this is how this game has been going in the beginning, and it's sort of upsetting because, like, if I come into here with the crematorium availability and stuff, like, none of this stuff is bad, none of this stuff is really slow, none of this stuff is lagging behind, but it's sort of out of control that all these people are like, oh, I'm waiting for a hearse, I can't find a hearse, all these people are dying, and then these people or abandoning their buildings and stuff, and it's just a little out of control. So I don't know if I have to build more crematoriums, if I have to have ones in certain areas, because I do have certain things like Pinewood Terrace and stuff. Like this is all gridded out. So if I look in here, which I can extend this grid this way now, I have this all gridded out to the point that the one hearse facility, like the crematorium, only works on this, and I have another one that only works over here in Linden Creek and Victoria Mead and stuff. I have these guys that are only working in those certain areas, so it's not like they're overly overwhelmed, but like I said, it might be because I just don't have the correct road layout whenever it comes to the city, if I should have gridded it out more. So if there was things that I could change starting over, those would be the things. I would fix the entrance, I would watch where I'm expanding to, I would grid my city center differently, and hopefully that would solve some of the issues that I'm having, especially with the hearses and stuff. So I mean, there's tons of hearses running around. It's a little extreme with the amount of capacity and stuff that we have. I mean, I know that I'm getting close because deaths are going crazy with 282 a month and we have 294, so it's right on the brinks, but it's not like this thing should be falling behind. And there's like 33 hearses driving around in all these areas, so it's like who's going where, and all this stuff right here, like all these people are dying. I guess it's because this building's on fire and the fire department's not showing up. So that's just great as well. So fire truck's right there, but it might be time for me to go ahead and get a fire station. That way I can have a helicopter and everything. So might just be the way that I gotta go with it. So there's certain things that I wish I would do differently, and hopefully that you guys can learn from those things. And if you guys are having any issues, I'm going to solve them already. If you're having the issue where you're only getting low density residential and you need medium high density residential, go ahead and let me know. And, well, not let me know, I have a video already, but you can go over there and let me know if you have any concerns or anything that maybe I didn't address in the video. And I'll link that right up in the corner right now. And I have other videos where I show how we got the city to the point right now it's making $230,000 an hour. I just posted a video a couple days ago. I was only making $100,000 an hour. So I'm consistently expanding the city to be more beneficial, but we're just running into these issues that I don't know if they're my fault because I didn't grid it out correctly, or if they just need patched and fixed because they said that they were going to fix this sort of stuff where the ambulances and the hearses and stuff weren't going to be running into as many issues as they were before, but apparently that might just not be what's happening. So hopefully I give you guys information that helps you out whenever you're building your city, and hopefully you guys can learn from it and do things differently than me. That way you don't have 3,000 blimps popping up over all these houses and you can sort of have alleviation. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned a little something. And if you guys have any information for me or have any questions for me, Let me know in the comment section down below. I've been Chase the Finish. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell, that way you stay up to date with the videos that we have coming out on Cities Skylines 2. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Well, peace.